name's Jessica Badger, and I'm going to show you how to use your discharger and install the lights. And this is what it looks like, as many of you will know. It comes with this on the end of the cord, and this other piece, as you will know, and the handle. You're going to want to make sure you have all your pieces: the handle, the safety guard, the screws in the bag. You're going to want other materials. You're going to want a pair of scissors. You're going to want a Phillips screwdriver. You're going to want an 8-volt battery. 9-volt battery. A digital multimeter, and alligator clips, and a piece of tissue paper if you want. The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open your discharger. You're going to do that by unscrewing this little screw right here. You're going to want to unscrew it all the way, and then you're going to want to open your discharger. Inside, you're going to find two bulbs. You're going to want to just put those aside for right now. And then when you open it, you're going to want to make sure that because of the hinges, if you try to close it right now, it's not going to close. When you try to close it, you're going to want to pick it up, make sure it raises, and then you're going to close. And it closes nice and smooth.
And that's due to the way this hinge is very sloppy and it can slide up and down. You want it to be lifted to the top in order to act as a hinge. If you let it sit low like that, the charger won't close, and if you try to force it, you're going to break the piece of metal and you'll have a problem.
Another thing that you're going to want to do too, which has already been done, is when you get your charger, this hinge is going to be up like this. You're going to want to maybe unscrew this if you need to and move it down. Make this nice and snug again. That way you have more room for your charger to open. Well, the window to open.
Yeah, it looks a lot better.
Alright.
Tell them about the little bippies in there.
There's little round, what would you call it?
A little protrusion from the spring. You can see it on the bottom one.
Yeah, there's two here, and then there's two on the other side. And when you open your bulbs,
grab the one over there.
Right. When you open your bulbs, you're going to see that they have this.
Let me get focused right there. Okay.
They have this little
metal
mark, indent, and you're going to want to match up that indent with the little bump that's on here. And you're going to want to make sure that actually meets together, that way your bulb actually works.
One of the most common problems we've had with these things is people put them in and it looks like the metal bump is in the socket, but it's actually resting on the ceramic, and they'll go through all the trouble of starting the charge, and then it won't actually work. So we're going to show you how to test it before you actually even try to use it, and that way you can be sure you've got the bulbs inserted properly.
If you notice, I'm wearing gloves with these bulbs because when you get them, you can read on the box that it says, "Do not touch bulb with bare hands. Oil from hands will shorten bulb life. If you touch the bulb, clean bulb thoroughly with alcohol to remove foreign substances. The oil on your hands can cause the bulb to break once it's heated up."
And that's because it burns with the high energy from the bulb, and the burnt mark is black, so therefore it absorbs the heat from the bulb, and it'll raise the temperature in that local place and cause it to crack. So wipe it with alcohol, as they said, or just keep it clean by inserting it with gloves or with a paper towel.
Although you can touch the ends with your fingers, but you still want to use gloves, or that's what the tissue's for too.
Yep.
You could also use the tissue to hold the bulb, but with gloves it's a lot easier.
Okay, so now she's going to put them in for us.
Alright. When you put them in, you're going to want to push in one side, like meet the little indent to the little bump, and then you're going to push it in, and then you're going to meet it to the other side. And then when you do that, you can turn the bulb and make sure that it's in place.
And if it wiggles side to side when you do that, more than likely you're not in the center of the metal bump. So that's a way to check that you've got it aligned properly.
And then you're going to take your second bulb and you're going to do the exact same thing.
Okay. And when
then you have your bulbs
installed. You get it right, you should be able to see clearly that the bump and the socket are lined up. Okay, you get that right, and that's half the battle right there. Okay, so now at that point you're ready to close the
Yes, and then
close
you're
the
gonna
box.
pick it up like I showed earlier, and you're gonna close.
But
And
not
then-
before you put the screen on.
All right. You have your guard, your safety guard, and you make sure that your safety guard goes in between this piece of plastic and the glass.
Right.
So you're gonna.
Actually, that's metal, but
Is it?
yeah,
Well, metal,
cast aluminum.
metal and glass. Then what you do is you're gonna squeeze this piece of metal, and then you're gonna squeeze the sides.
You probably have to
I
take it
think
back out.
Yeah, I have to take it back out.
Squeeze from the sides and top and
and
bottom.
the top at the same time. That's better.
And then make sure it's fully engaged, and when it is, it's obvious that it's there. And again, it probably works better when you loosen it a little bit. There you go. Okay.
And then it's in.
And that's to prevent you from burning yourself by touching that glass, because the outside of that shop light does get quite hot.
And then you're going to want to close up this, well, tighten the screw that you already unscrewed to get this open. You're going to use your screwdriver.
Now, this is a sheet metal screw or a self-tapping screw going into a piece of cast aluminum, so be careful that you get it started correctly, other you can strip it out, and you may only get one or two opportunities to do that. So now you've got the bulb in there, you're ready to do your final assembly of the base, and so Jessica's going to show us how to do
And in the
that.
base, you can see this black piece with, there's a little bit of bubble wrap sticking out. Inside, there's actually another bulb that can replace either one of these bulbs if it goes out.
And you may want to observe the bulbs you're putting in to see if the filaments are continuous, because if they break, you'll see a broken little curly filament wire, and don't bother putting it in, just get your spare bulb. We haven't had any problems since we started shipping them in the boxes, so you should be good.
You're going to want to flip it over, and then you're going to want to move this hinge back to the position it was when you got it.
Okay.
And then
Get your two screws.
you have to get your two screws from your little bag, and then you're going to use your scissors that you have, and you're going to cut it open. And these are your two screws
Yep. With wing nuts.
with wing nuts. And you're going to take the wing nuts off. And then you're going to place your, with the handle sticking up. Put the screw facing, with the bottom, the flat part, facing down. And then put the screw through the hole. And then you're going to take your wing nut, and then you're going to screw your wing nut on and hold it in place. And then you're going to do the very same thing for the next one. And then you're going to tighten them and make sure.
Okay.
Your handle.
Very good.
Still not tight. Alright.
Wiggle them a little bit. There you go. Okay, so now the shop light is set up, and we happen to have an Insight battery pack sitting here that we're going to use as the power source, but if you have your harness already installed in your car, you would simply plug this into the harness between the charger and the harness. So Jessica's going to show you the two different methods of testing your bulb. We have new software for the charger, version 2.7, and that allows you to use the test button to do a simple discharger test. But since most of you don't have that, we'll show you the way to use a 9-volt battery to do the same thing. Okay.
Would you want to do the battery first? Or?
Well, first we got to hook it to the
Yeah.
battery pack, so we get some source of power.
You're
Otherwise, it
gonna
won't light up.
Female end, which is the round end, and there's a square end. You're going to take the round end, and then you're going to hook it to the square
Okay.
in your car. There are numbers, as you can, well, they're hard to see on camera, but if you look really close, there's numbers, and you're going to meet the numbers up.
And you can simply just mate the two connectors and turn them until they engage,
Yeah.
and
And
make
then
sure
you're
they're
gonna
fully inserted. Yep.
tighten your screw. And then you have it connected.
All right. So now the discharger's across the battery. Let me
Here,
get around
switch
here.
pieces with you.
And now we're going to use the 9-volt battery and a meter in order to test the light, make sure it lights up.
Right. You're going to have your other end on the table.
Now let's take a close look at that other end. You want to turn it in the direction. Let me get a close up here. You got two of the pins are populated. That's the minus, that's the plus. And I'll hold this.
Okay. And then, well, you're going to take your alligator clips and you're going to attach them to your battery.
Now the battery is always indicating plus and minus, so make sure you use your red lead to make it easy on the plus side.
And then it says minus and plus.
Oh,
if I could get it. It's hard with gloves.
Oh, you can take your gloves off.
Alright. You have to make sure your alligator clips are not touching because then it won't work right. And then
Yeah, that's
minor difficulties here.
That's the problem with alligator clips, is they're got a mind of their own.
Alright. And then you're going to take...
Now the reason we're using the meter is number one, to confirm that the battery's actually got over 7 volts in it. And number two, we want to have a pointy object to get into the little lines on the thing. So the meter solves both purposes by giving us a voltage reading and giving us points that we can use to actually turn the light on. Okay.
And then you're going to connect the negative with the negative and the positive with the positive, and as you can see, both are black and then both are red.
We keep aiming it that way because you can see here, you can see in the shadow.
Well, I don't know if you'll see in the meter once she turns the meter on.
Alright. And then once they're connected, you're going to turn your meter on.
See the meter with
And it says 8.2, right?
8.26.
Yeah, it's not a very good battery, but it's definitely all we need to turn the shop light on. So now you simply stand back, and she's going to apply the voltage with the right polarity to those two
you're going to
leads.
make sure you want to do the negative with the negative and the positive with
I'll hold
the
this so you got 2 hands.
Alright.
And you can see the light came on. Okay, turn it on and off. Just disconnect one of them. Okay, and that confirms that your bulbs are in properly. The power MOSFET is switching like it should, and you're good. Now, as we were saying, we have new software for the charger that can do this test fairly easily. So she's going to plug the
This end.
plug into the charger, pull the charger back this way,
I will.
turn it on.
Charger come from here, actually.
Now, charger version 2, software version 2.7 and above will have this test feature. So you simply turn it on, and
You're going to want to make sure because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little holes, and there's 6 prongs. And you're going to want to make sure every little prong goes in the hole.
also you got to make sure that the tab that supports it, this little wedge right there.
Yeah, this little wedge meets
I,
up with
I
the
didn't
other.
I didn't see that good. Let me get a better shot of that. The wedge, okay. There's a wedge at the top, right there, the little white wedge. And you can see that there's a wedge on that side there. So when she puts it in, you make sure those are lined up, and also make sure that your top and bottom alignment is good. Okay.
Once
So-
that's done, you're going to want to press the test button. And test it. It's going to beep. The light comes on. And your test is done.
It's a 2-second test, and that way you hook your discharger up, you can confirm that it's working before you actually try to use it, and that way you won't be disappointed 17 hours later when it doesn't come on. And that's it. Simply put it together, test it, make sure it's working, and you're ready to go out and start using it in the car.